Hello. Welcome. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Afternoon DOOGER. You know what I was realizing? My family is now out of the house by like 11:30 on Sundays. So technically, hear me out. Technically, we could be a Sunday morning DOOGER again. Just saying. I know, we've all gotten very attached to sad Sundays, but but if we wanted it to be SMD again. The only issue with SMD was that it got caught by the bot. The bot thought I was trying to be lewd every time. So, sad is good. Sad Sundays is pretty funny. Yeah, it's the bot's fault for coming up with some lewd shit, okay? Really enjoyed the Snufkin VOD this week, dude. I really want to 100% that game, I think. It's hard, though, because there's 2 achievements that are hidden. So I would have to, like, either just, you know, go hard on the game and find them naturally. Or I guess it depends on if some of them are dependent on you doing certain things in the game, in which case I'd have to start it over. Oh, yeah. Let me get rid of that tag. There. Ugh. Yeah, it was great. What a good game. Super cute. It's ruined my life. We've watched almost all of Moomin Valley now. Clark is super into it. She asked if she could be Little Mai for Halloween, which is incredible. I was like, of course. The open pocket on your arm bothers me. This little guy. I had to have all the I ran this through the wash, so I had to have all the pockets open, dude. Yeah. She was like, I'll be Little Mai, you can be Snufkin, and Daddy can be Moomin Papa. I was like, I feel like we're asking one of us to do a lot of work and the other 2 to not really have to do that much work at all. Also, that feels like an outfit that we have to sort of plan for, and all of our Halloweens for the foreseeable future are probably going to be in America. So I don't know how we slap together a Moomin Papa outfit. Unless it's like, you know, one of those like Disney bounding style Moomin Papa outfits. If it was like he just wears all white and a top hat and we're like, it's Moomin Papa. Sam could be the Groke. That would be very good. Why are Halloweens in America? Because I don't live in a country that celebrates Thanksgiving, which makes a whole lot of sense. So Thanksgiving is basically the only holiday that my family all gets together every year for whatever reason. We don't celebrate Christmas. We don't have any the holidays that we celebrate really that get people together. So it's just Thanksgiving really. And the way that half-term breaks are sort of broken up out here, one of the breaks happens during Halloween, but there isn't one in November. So I had gone to my family and said, hey, we can't come out in November, but we do have a break that is like planned and open end of October instead. So maybe we'll just come out and see everybody around Halloween time. And my parents were like, we'll just celebrate Thanksgiving in October. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So that's what we do now, which is very cute. So we go out to America and we do Thanksgiving and immediately follow it up with Halloween. We spend the first part of the trip with my parents and then go to my sister's for Thanksgiving and then stay with my sister and do Halloween and then go home. So someone surely makes Moomin masks. Probably. I don't know if I want to subject Sam to wearing a Moomin mask. Yeah. It's just kind of, they take missing school much more seriously out here than they do in America. I feel like in America it was so easy to just be like, and we're not going to be there. Nobody needs to ask why, right? But like you can get fined and stuff for keeping your kid out of school here. Which I've talked to a couple of teachers in America and they've been like, honestly, I wish. Honestly, I wish that like there was some sort of an incentive because obviously you can call and be like, hey, my kid can't come for XYZ reason, and they can't refute it. But it's just, you can't just like take your kid out of school for no reason. So like my mother-in-law had said, if you wanted to take her out of school for a week and say she's American and we're going to America because of United States holiday, that counts, right? Like that's a cultural need is kind of the idea. So she was like, you could totally do that, but it would mean that she misses a week of school. So the fact that everybody was willing to shift everything is great. Oh my God, the wasp's nest? Wait, why are we talking about the wasps? Yeah, again, as I was explaining on Geekenders, I have, through the Snufkin game, become very aware of how many characters there are in the Moomin universe. There are loads. I think we could give Sam a whole list of them, and he'd be like, yep. Like, he could do a mean stinky, dude. Stinky wasn't in the books? Damn. Yes, that's I need a Moomin mug. I don't need a bunch of them. I daydream about having a bunch of them, but I don't need a bunch of them because I have a problem, okay? Yay, congrats on the Sam! But I would like one. I'm gonna buy myself one as a treat. As a treat, you know. Who's the sailor? Too ticky? Tuticky's very cute. Sam could be too ticky. Sam could be too ticky. Did anything happen with getting more geese for Crumble? No, we're not messing with that whole ecosystem right now. No, our current bird issue is Vivi, who is one of our 4 chickens, right? She's a sweet little thing. And all of the other chickens have decided that she's the one they want to pick on, which is like a totally normal chicken thing. They're bored and they're picking out her feathers, which is sad. So I took her out of there. I put her in our old chicken coop. So she's just on her own for a little bit while she heals, because at first I was like, well, I'll put some stuff out there to, make them less bored. We'll hang some apples and stuff, give them an activity, But I went out there yesterday morning and her whole backside was completely covered in blood because they were all just pecking at her and picking out her feathers. And I was like, okay, no, I'm taking her out of there. You guys can figure out who you want to pick on now instead. My mother-in-law is worried that because I've now removed her, that she's going to be anxious on her own, which might be true. She's going to be anxious on her own, and the other ones are going to, once she's reintroduced, they're going to other her anyway and just start doing it all over again. So she thinks that I should take the run. I know, poor Vivi, dude. She's so cute. I love her. I was like, I could get a little baby Bjorn and just put her in the baby Bjorn and carry her around while I'm doing, farm chores. Because she's just got no feathers. Baby girl. I feel so bad for her. Anyways. So, so my mother-in-law thinks I should take not the coop, but the run. Put the run inside. Put the small run inside of the big run. And every morning, put Vivi in the separate run. So they're all still in the same area doing their thing. But they can't get to her, and they can all still sleep in the same coop. She thinks that would be best. And she works with chickens a lot, so maybe she's right. But chickens get sectioned off from the rest of the coop all the time if they're sick or they have an infection or whatever. But I guess this is different because it's she's just getting bullied, Yeah, well, again, keep in mind, it's not just me and Sam and Clark. It's me, Sam, Clark, my sister-in-law, my mother and father-in-law. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law are both the sort of people that were it's our dream to live on a farm and be able to have farm animals and stuff, right? So they have fully thrown themselves into the farm life. So with, the 3 of us all doing animal stuff and all helping each other out with animal stuff, we've managed to stay on top of, whatever all of the animals need, really. The biggest issue, honestly, is when we are over involved. There was a whole situation where the pigs were getting fed 6 times a day by accident because all of us kept going out there with our scraps and being like, here you go, piggies. And Sam was like, they look huge. Are they huge? I feel like they're too big. And my mother-in-law was like, they're not too big. They're just fine. They're not too big, Sam. And he was like, how often are they eating? They look huge. And she was like, they're pigs. Of course they're huge. But they're not too big. They're healthy. They're fine. Yeah. So obviously now we have the chickens. I give the chickens lots of scraps instead of the pigs because I know the pigs are eating all sorts of stuff. And one of the sheep has done something to its leg. So we've been told we're not allowed to give that sheep treats anymore, which means neither of the big sheep can have treats because it's not fair to just feed one. So I was talking with them and I was like, oh my gosh, I gave these sheep one treat and now they love me and they come over and hang out with me. And they were like, yeah, we can't do that anymore. I was like, no, that's not fair. Everybody else got to give them treats for like 2 weeks, dude. I get to do it twice, and now it's being ripped from me? Fine. What does the issue with the leg mean they can't have treats? Because depending on the treat, depending on the type of treat, and these sheep are bougie, so they reject a lot of treats. Depending on the type of treat, if it's like exacerbating like swelling and stuff like that, you just want to be careful about giving them anything with like fat content, sugar content, stuff like that. When we bought the sheep, the guy was like, I'm sure you guys have heard the phrase, buy a sheep, buy a shovel. I had heard that before when I was a kid. And it's very macabre, but it's basically that sheep are so good at getting themselves hurt or accidentally dying. They're just dumb. They're cute, sweet, dumb animals. And you have to like baby them a lot because they'll hurt themselves all the time. So... But so far, they're very dumb, yeah. Not saying it in a bad way, you know, dumb, but like affectionate, you know, so. We're just so glad because again, the lambs that we have, my sister-in-law got them for so cheap because they were still being bottle fed. and their patterning was not the patterning that people want, right? If you give a shit about that. But they were still being bottle fed, and I guess buying sheep that still need to be bottle fed is so dicey. Because, again, it's so easy for sheep to suddenly not be doing well. And in the same way that babies need to be burped, lambs, I can't remember the word for it, but lots of animals can have, like, so much trapped air in their bodies that it kills them. So you have to like be really careful when bottle feeding lambs, and you have to basically like get them to run around and like pat their sides and like burp them like a baby. So yeah. We have a saying here that translates to sheep were made by God and goats were made by the devil. Love a goat. But overall, I think all the animals are doing good. I think they're all doing good. Sherlock has turned into like a... I don't know what happened. For so long, he was really good about this, but suddenly he is trying to get into everything. And I remember when we took in Watson to have them look at like her rashes and stuff, which have gone away, by the way. It turned out she's allergic to meat, which kills me. A cat allergic to meat is very funny to me. But we have her on food now that she likes and she'll eat, and her rashes aren't there anymore. But Sherlock is now, he's desperately trying to get into the trash. He tries to, if we haven't immediately washed dishes, he tries to get into the sink to eat, to like lick the plates. It's so buck wild. And the reason I brought up Watson is because when we brought Watson in, I was talking about how she keeps trying, she's seemed like ravenous lately at the time that I had brought her in. And they were like, if suddenly a cat in their like teens, it seems like they're just never satisfied and they're desperate to find food, it can be like a late onset thyroid problem. And so now I'm like, maybe I should bring Sherlock in and see if he got a thyroid problem. I don't know. It's either that or the really simple answer, which is at one point somebody left out a plate and he licked it and his eyes dilated and he was like, holy shit, let's go. Let's go. This is what I need. So. Because of malnutrition? What do you mean? Yeah, I think he needs to go in anyway. He's at the age now where we want to make sure we're getting him routinely looked at. So last time we went in, they were like, he's a big cat, but he's fine. And I was like, nice, sick. So, you know, hopefully I go in and they say, he's a big cat, but he's fine. But I would definitely bring up my concerns about that. No, there's no benefit from doing the fishing thing. None at all. It's just a goofy thing to spend points on if you want to. Yeah, a big old man, but very healthy. Yeah, that's what they had said when we asked about Watson, is basically it could be a thyroid problem. And unfortunately, you do have to pay for that test to happen. But if it is, it's so easy to fix. It's like the medication for that is no problem at all. So. We're still, unfortunately, despite the sweet kisses of spring, we're still unfortunately in the time of year where I can make a fresh pot of coffee, take it in here, and if I accidentally jibber jab for a while, it's cold. It's cold. Yeah, I love being out here. I do have a mug warmer, yeah. Here's the thing, though. It does not work super well. It doesn't work super well. I also don't think it's plugged in right now because I needed a USB port. No, not plugged in right now. That's okay. My favorite thing in the world, and I do it every night. My favorite thing in the world. I think after, I really didn't appreciate this when I was growing up. I could have done this my whole life growing up, and I really didn't appreciate it. I also wasn't allowed outside in the middle of the night as a child, so there's that. But my favorite thing to do every single night is when everybody's asleep, except Sam. When everybody's asleep, I step outside and just stand in the dark. It's awesome. It's awesome. Because occasionally you'll hear a lamb like, meh. I'm like, there they are. And I can see the stars because there isn't that much light pollution. And it's just cold. But like if you bundle up enough, it's only cold on your nose. You know, it's just great. It's just nice. And I just stand out there for a minute and not listen to much of anything and let my brain go blank for a few minutes. And then I go back inside and it's great. Yeah. Oh, did I miss a Michael? I missed Michael. And like Benji, hear the screeching of foxes. We haven't heard a fox in a while. I know what to listen for now, though. If I hear a fox, I'm immediately outside by the chickens like, don't fuck with me. Owls keep trying to get my chickens. No! We have hawks. We have like big old birds of prey out here. But fortunately, they seem kind of spooked by the geese. So the geese, the reason we got the geese, doing their job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're huge. I never knew that hawks can be spooked by geese. Yeah, well, geese are so aggro, and they're huge. So, yeah. Yeah, just keep in mind, as we've learned, that even if you hand raise these geese with all the love in the world, they'll probably pick one person maximum and be like, you're all right. And everyone else they'll slowly come to hate. We had a goose when I was a kid. We had to sprint to the house because it would chase you down. We finally put up a netting. So they get let out first thing in the morning, but they have their like little fenced in area and they stay in there until I start work. Reason being, that, you know, if Clark wants to go out and interact with the animals and stuff before school, or if I'm not able to, you know, feed the chickens and stuff before we have to go to school, then we just need more non-goose time. I'm totally fine with the geese being out living their lives, but it's so nice to be like, can the geese be put back in their house, please, for a minute? Sam's tweet about fighting with the goose. I haven't seen his tweet, but I was there for that fight. Do I have other plans for the future besides streaming in the coffee company? I mean, I've had other ideas of things, but they're mostly like, yeah, you know, down the line when when I'm really starting to feel age, like kicking my butt, then, you know, yeah, there's some stuff that I think I could transition into and have a nice time. I do. I love streaming. Honestly, 100%. I think it's very fun. I think it's very fun. And sometimes I'm not having a very good day and I stream and I feel better. That might come from a selfish place. It might be that, like, you know, I just need to barf some stuff out and then I'm like, all right, I feel better. I'm glad that you guys find those streams fun. If I'm having a good time but y'all aren't, then there's not I'm doing something wrong. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, how old will I be in 5 years? I'm 37 this year. Quick math. 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. I'll be 42. Okay. My kid will be a preteen. So who knows how that's going to be going. But I will have been here for nearly 10 years then at that point. So I would like to say that I'll be better established. That I'll have more things that I just do for me, you know? I don't have any anxiety about being 40. No, all them big numbers. It's awesome to get that far. The bookcase will still not be there. All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out spaces. It's a high score age. Yeah, right? Not the highest. You know, not as high as people that are botting wind up getting, but like but it's a respectable age to get to. And I'm not done. I won't be done there, you know. Yes, this was a joke about how sometimes you go online and you compete in a game and all of the scores are something like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then somebody has 999,000 and you're like, how the fuck did they get that number? And then you find out that there actually is a way to cheat the system with a computer and that they were cheating, they were botting. They were using a robot to play the game for them, and you're like, oh, well, then I don't feel too bad. In the same way that I one day will be looking at my peers, because this is the direction that we're all going in. One day I'll be looking at my peers and be like, okay, obviously, if you've replaced all your body parts with robot parts, you'll get a lot farther than me. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'll just be delighted for as long as I'm able to go, you know. Anyway, Mad World. Yeah, Sam has been pretty explicit about the fact that he would 100% swap a bunch of body parts with robot parts. He also, if VR got good enough and he felt like he didn't really have much going on in his life, he would just live the rest of his life out in VR. Have two opposite people ever loved each other so much? I'm like, that's fine. Dude, if one day you're like, you know what, I'm kind of over it. I think I'd rather just be in VR. that's the moment that I'm like, that's fine. I'm going to go build a cabin somewhere and not tell anyone. So it's been so good. This has been amazing. I love you very much. Oh my gosh, Zingatorix, thank you so much for all the gifted subs. I was like, I'm pretty sure I missed a thing. Thank you very much. If you were gifted a sub by Zingatorix, please take the time to say thank you and welcome to the cat gang. I appreciate it. I'll build a cabin in VR. I like that. That's a good midpoint. Yeah. Oh my God. I'll be 90 something and Sam will be like, I'm plugging in. And and then I'll tell him that he's botting and then I'll remember this exact day. Be like, oh my God, it's become reality. Will Sam still wear the mesh shirt in his 90s? It's funny you say that. He picked that shirt up while he was folding laundry and was like, why the fuck does this shirt keep showing up? I was like, I don't know, dude. Stop wearing it. He was like, I don't wear this shirt. I was like, I know. I wore it last time, actually. I'm just fucking with you. And he was like, stop. Stop. Let it die. Stop wearing it. Yeah. I'll ask him to put the mesh shirt on right before he plugs it. He won't be able to feel it anyway. By that point, you know, the VR will be able to like take over all of your receptors and stuff. I mean, I have also worn this shirt now, so I can confirm, not a comfortable shirt. Those of you who are like, when it's hot outside, he's gonna be delighted to have that shirt. I think he'll just go shirtless. You're already not covering anything with that shirt, and it does not feel particularly delightful on your skin. So I think probably if it's hot enough, it would just go the way of the dodo, so to speak. Why keep it? To torment him. And I told him so yesterday. I was like, you know what's so crazy is this shirt would be gone by now if you had gone through your clothes. But I guess if you want it to still be here, then it'll just continue to be here, won't it? I made a deal with my kid. We have a mountain of stuffed animals. And I said, And she doesn't even realize how good of a deal this is. The comparison to the general market value is wild, okay? I was like, for every stuffed animal that you part with, that you're down to give to another kid, I'll give you 50 pence. So every 2 stuffed animals gets you £1. That's a crazy deal on a used stuffed animal. That's a crazy deal, okay? So I gave her 3 boxes. I know. It's a crazy deal. I'm desperate. I'm desperate. And we had a whole conversation because, to finish my first thought, there are 3 boxes. There's a giveaway, I'm thinking about it, and definitely keep. And so far, giveaway is empty, and I'm thinking about it is overflowing. So I was like, that's good. We have lots of stuff that we're like, maybe, that's step 1. That's fine. Anyways, she does know how to count money. Yeah. So, point being, she was like, I think I would find this a lot easier if I could watch you and Daddy do this with your stuff. And I was like, that is a really good observation. I think we should definitely do that. So I was like, next time that Daddy and I go through some stuff, do you want to sit in and watch how we make those choices? And she was like, yes. I said, okay, sounds good. Makes perfect sense to me. Because it took me a while to figure out how to do this for myself. And again, I'm not interested in passing on this, like, I'm attached to everything I own disease. I don't have no interest in her having that, okay? So as much as I can do to help her, number 1, learn how to let go of stuff willingly. And number 2, learn how to, like, do things in small steps for the big picture thing, right? When cleaning and stuff. I think both of those are going to be really good skills to have that maybe keep her from having everything's important disease. 'Cause it's not. All my old stuffed animals are still at my parents' house. I think my mom, and I told Clark this too. I was like, I'll get a box because, there's some stuff that's like, oh my gosh, we're as a family, we're really attached to this thing because we heavily associate it with when you were a baby, right? It's like, I'll get a box. We can start putting together like a keepsakes thing. And that way, if there's something where you're like, I'm probably never going to play with this again, but I really don't want to get rid of it. If we can all pitch to each other like this should be a keepsake, then we'll put it in the keepsakes box, right? Who are you to tell her what's important to her? I'm not influencing this at all. I literally left the room. I was like, I'm not going to sit there and watch you sort these. You decide for yourself. But if you mean as a rebuttal to the everything's important disease, I grew up with a lot of hoarding around me. Don't even try. No, everything is not important enough to have it absolutely destroy your home and living situation. No. No, ma'am. Everything is not that important. Other people can be using that shit. As a child of hoarders, 100%. My dad started the unwinding process. I've had to pick up the unwinding process because, as we've talked about before, typically kids that are influenced by hoarder mindsets, they go in one of two directions. They either go super minimal, that's my brother, either go super, super minimal and are like, I want to know exactly what I own and where everything belongs, etc. Or they become pack rats, which is me. And I've made myself really miserable with it before. So I'm not giving her that. No, I'm not giving her that. I'm going to try to give her the tools to not struggle with this into her adulthood the way that I have. Because you had a mug collection? No. How have you helped decrease those tendencies in yourself? I try to go through stuff consistently. Paper clutter is a huge issue for us. I get really attached to basically everything that my kid brings home from school. I get really stressed out by papers that are somewhat important, even if we don't need to keep them anymore. Papers are a huge, huge issue for me. Also, essentially, if you, in an effort to de-stress yourself, put a bunch of things in a box, that box might as well be a pit in hell. That box, if I had a choice, I would never look in that box again. And then slowly, you wind up with more and more and more hell pit boxes. And you go, well, eventually I have to look in one of these, don't I? So, it's been a lot of trying to change habits. One of the bad habits is just putting things wherever in the moment. Trying to give things homes. Most of my things don't have a home. So being honest, when there's something that doesn't have a home, being honest with myself, do I need this thing? If I do, I need to figure out where it goes. Where does it belong, right? And we've lived here for like a year, not consistently for a year, but like we're fully living here now and have been for a few months. And most of our stuff still doesn't have a home. It doesn't have a place that is like where it's supposed to be. So there are stacks all over the place. What the fuck is this? I don't know, but it's fine right there. We're just going to leave that there for a minute. No. It's no good. It's no good. I hope that something that's helpful is that Clark sees me dealing with this shit consistently, noticing something that needs to get dealt with and trying to deal with it, that she sees Sam and I doing that process together. Because even though I can acknowledge that I am a major part of the problem, it's also really important to acknowledge when you really need help. I've told the styrofoam wig head story many times, but I will never forget Sam taking me into the garage in our old house and going, I have a question for you. Why do we have 13 wig heads when you don't wear wigs anymore? What are these there for? Why have we dragged these to 3 different homes? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I bought them for a good deal when I did costume crafts, when I needed to have wigs. But I don't use them anymore. You're absolutely right. I haven't worn a wig in years. I don't know. I don't know why I still have all of these. it becomes the white noise of your house, though. When you have clutter, things become, you don't even see them anymore. And it's important to have another person there who isn't, number one, isn't emotionally attached to any of this shit and can see things for what they are, because you see things differently in your own home, right? Everything is associated with something up here, right? It's really important to bring somebody in and have them be like, what's that? What is this? You know? So yeah, you might, when hearing this, you might say, holy shit, does Dodger live in a full-on hoarding house? No. Again, my grandpa was a full-on, like, dangerous hoarder. My dad picked up some of those, like, I don't like to let go of things tendencies. And I picked up some of that too. But I'm really aware of it. I'm super aware of it. And I try to be really brutal with myself. And it's a process, you know. I should clean today. I think something that's good for those of us in a similar situation, or if you're in a worse situation than mine, something that's really good for us to remember is that doing a little every day is more progress than not doing anything for a long time and saying, eventually I'll get to all of that. Doing a little bit every day builds to a big picture. So it's okay if you're listening to this and you're like, I should tackle one of these doom piles in my house, right? It's okay for it to just be like, here's a bag with some weird papers in it. I'm gonna see what's in this bag with weird papers. And then when you're done with that bag, be like, nice. That's part of it. That's part of it done, dude. And I also think, out of fairness to the people in chat who might be like, I literally don't understand how this happens or any of that. I think if you haven't been around a hoarder, it's really hard to understand the mindset or to see how bad it can get. That's why, you know, these videos where people like help hoarders, half the comments are, look at this lazy piece of shit. How did this get so bad? Right. And the other half are, I'm so glad this person is getting help, because depending on your living situation or what you've been exposed to, it will make sense or it won't, I think sometimes, you know. It's not black or white. Things can have value for people. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. The message was definitely not things don't have value. Yeah, absolutely. I get very attached to things. The things that have value to me. This is where the spark joy shit comes from. Does this thing spark joy for you? Why are you keeping it, right? It's important to ask yourself, why do I have this? Can someone else be using this? When's the last time I wore it? Is this just something that I love? There are dresses. This is how I dress every day of my life. Okay? There are dresses that I have kept for years, and I will not give them away because I love them. Am I going to wear them anytime in the next 5 years? No clue. No clue. But I will keep them because I love them, and I think they're beautiful, and I think they look really nice on me. So, audio listeners, she's wearing the beanie. To our audio-only listeners, I stood up wearing ripped jeans with a mushroom embroidered on the knee, a brown fleece shirt, a corduroy jacket that I've owned for about 15 years now, and my standard beanie. You're welcome. It's basically what I wear every day. Yeah. My parents are still dealing with getting rid of all my grandpa's stuff. That's another thing that I think sometimes we don't want to come to terms with is like somebody else is going to have to deal with all this if I don't. You know? I'll never understand why people want their pants to have holes in the knees. Well, some of us fall a lot. You're right, though. Sometimes it's just fashion. Some of us fall a lot and have gotten so used to having holes in our knees that they just all do, and it winds up being the more comfortable version of jeans to wear. Do you find that you have trouble finding clothes that fit? Yeah, somebody was talking about being short. How sometimes if you are shorter than average or taller than average, you know, bigger or smaller than average in some way, that you sometimes get more attached to clothes because you're like, what if I never find something that fits me right again? You know, what if I never find a dress that fit me just right the way that this did? Yeah. I mean, trousers have always been a issue for me. That's why when I was younger and everybody was like, guess what? Now we wear wide leg trousers and we want them so long that they cover our shoes. I was like, hot dog. Hot dog, it's my time. It's my time to shine. I've been avoiding that for so long, but now it's cool. Oh, don't get me started on the jeans thing. I sleep in jeans sometimes, and I will always love jeans. I'll always love jeans. I don't know, dude. Sam comes at me about that shit all the time. I love my jeans. My jeans are super comfortable. I choose to not remember that you sleep in jeans. Not on purpose most of the time. Not on purpose most of the time. But I've slept a full night in jeans more than once. Yeah. When I find jeans that fit right, I buy like 4 or more pairs and wear them for years. That's just reminding me. I need to message my mom. There's a there's a brand that might only be at Fred Meyer. Shout out to those of you who live near a Fred Meyer. There's a brand called Dip. And their jeans fit me great. Their jeans fit me so well. I need to message my mom and be like, Hey. This was the size I wore in dip jeans. Do you think you could send me another pair of those? Because all my jeans are ripping in the crotch, dude, and it's a problem. What's Sam's alternative to jeans? Sam wears sweatpants every single day. Sporty sweatpants, sleepy sweatpants, thin sweatpants, thick sweatpants. He loves them. He will live his whole life in them. He wears jeans when he wants to look nice, and they look very nice on him. I'm allowed to say that. I'm his wife. They look great on him. Love it. But it's rare. It's a rare find. Sam in jeans as often as I'm in a dress, dude. I'm his wife. Yeah, exactly. Remember when he walked away from stream with the sweatpants having literally 0.000001 millimeter of material left on the butt? Oh my god. Yeah. I was like, do you want me to fix these? And he was like, they're unfixable, honey. I totally forgot that I ate shit on my knee. I rolled my ankle getting out of the car on Friday, I think. Landed on my knee. Those of you who were there for that stream, I took a break to go to the bathroom, and it took me a while. And when I came back, I was like, guys, I did not realize until I went to the bathroom just now that my knee had blood all over it because I rolled my ankle, fell in the street, smashed my knee, and was like, I'm just going to get up and move on with my life. I sprained my ankle. Ankle twinsies. No! I believe in both of us. Oh, one moment. Oh. My kid went to martial arts and got a black eye today. I tried to send a voice message being like, yo, a black eye? You're going to look so cool. I don't think that it made her feel better. She got a black eye. How? She's in martial arts. They were practicing like holds, and a kid accidentally kicked her in the eye. Isn't she just tumbling? No, they fully go at each other in this class. I was talking with Sam about it because he's the one who takes her. I took her yesterday because she asked if she could go to an extra class. I was like, sure, because you don't pay per class. You pay for like a period of time and you can go as often as you want, kind of like a gym. So I was like, sure, you want to go again? Sure, why not? I took her and I was watching the class and I was like, these kids are fully like wrestling each other to the ground. The teachers are really good. They're very attentive. They make sure everybody's being like as safe as possible, you know, but accidents obviously happen. So, but apparently she was a trooper. She got kicked, had a little cry, and then finished the session. And now she's got a little black eye, so they're cuddling. Yeah, we didn't expect her to love it as much as she does. But she asks to go like every day that they offer it, which is wild. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to the person asking how do they teach them not to fight outside of class, I don't remember that ever being an issue for me. I feel like most of the time when you learn martial arts, there's a lot of focus on like respect and when and how to use the skills that you're being taught, you know. I don't remember ever leaving karate and being like, I can't wait to practice this shit on my friends, you know? I don't remember ever thinking about that. It was, you know, fighting was a in-class only activity, you know. Big emphasis on not to do that or be permanently barred if found out when I used to go. Yeah. Yeah. If you get in trouble for fighting, that's a no-no. You don't start fights with other kids. You use the skills that you have to protect people if you have to. But New Jericho, thank you so much for all the gifted subs. Welcome to the Cat Gang, guys. Be sure to thank New Jericho for those. I appreciate it. I felt that way in high school wrestling. All of us were like, how can we do this all the time to each other? We asked one of our kids' friends, we contacted her parents and we're like, hey, would they want to go together? So occasionally they've been going to this together. And I have wondered before if sometimes they're in class and they're like, we should wrestle. Sorry. I sent I sent a message. I sent a message last night while I was half awake, and I'm just now getting a response to that message. Do you guys ever do that when you're like barely alive? You send a message to a person, and it's not like something you're embarrassed about necessarily, but it's definitely a thing where you're like, why did I type that? Geekenders always, unless we have some sort of an issue, Geekenders always happens on Fridays at 4 p.m. England time. Now, saying that, I'm just remembering that we have a daylight savings issue currently. So last week we started an hour earlier than that. So you can go by 8 a.m. Pacific time for all of it. Hi, Arnar! The tired version of drunk texts. Yeah. I'm not drunk. I'm just reading a really weird fanfic and I need to tell somebody about it. Hi, Summer! It was literally Summer who was responding. I was just reading a really weird fanfic and I just really needed to tell someone. And I have a short list. I have a short list in my mind. People that I feel like I can reach out to and be like, hey, I'm reading this fic and this happened. Anyway, good night. Anyway, night. We're getting 8 a.m. Jesse on the pod. 8 a.m. Jesse is every Geekenders. Every single Geekenders is 8 a.m. Jesse. That's the joy. That's the joy of time zones. The thrill of Geekenders. Wouldn't he have been 7 a.m. Jesse this last week? No, that's what I was just talking about. Is we decided to go by 8 a.m. Pacific still. So it was still 8 a.m. for him, and we started an hour early. And hilariously, I hadn't even thought about it until someone in chat said, hey, what time is it starting today? Normal time for you or normal time for Jesse? And I was like, oh my God. Well, well, this is your brain on time zones. We've got Sunforged tonight. I was like, normally there's something else in my Sunday title. And I don't know what it is. It's this. Boom. There. Boom. Alex very kindly got me a cardigan as my arms were cold, but he picked out an armless cardigan. That's amazing. One time, I asked for a sweater, and Sam picked up one of my kids' sweaters and tried to hand it to me. And I said, honey, how small do you think I am? That is not mine, dude. Every time he does laundry, there's a pile that's like, I don't know whose this is. And I'm like, how? What do you mean? You cannot look at a 5-year-old's pair of trousers and mine and say that they're the same length. That's madness. This is no, I reject this. It's all small to a giant, someone said. That's like when I'm standing next to a person that's like average height, quote unquote, and someone who's really tall. And then later I'll be like, I don't know, you guys looked about the same size to me. And I'm not even trying to do it to like ruin anybody's ego. It's just the truth. When you're like low enough, sometimes you're like, I don't know, you're both like 6 foot-ish, right? And Sam will be like, what are you talking about? That's true. I do share socks. You know what's funny though? I share socks with my child sometimes, and I also share socks with my husband. I don't own any of my own socks anymore. What's even the point? You know? I just bought an extra pack of Sam's socks and threw them in there. I bought an extra pack of Clark's socks, threw them in there, and now I get my pick of the litter, dude. Mm-hmm. Normally, Clark says she's going to be taller than Sam. But the other day, we were hit with, I'm probably going to be taller than you, talking to me. I was like, I think so too. And she was like, I don't know if I'm going to get taller than Daddy. I said, I don't know, but reach for the stars, kid. How on earth did his fit you? I don't have the sort of clothing sensitivities that a lot of people in my life and in my family do. I can wear socks that are way too big for me, and the heel is basically sitting on my shin, and I'll be fine. Totally fine. I'll 100% wear that sock. Because most of my life is barefoot anyway. So when a sock is on, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's there because I need it to be there so that I don't stick to the shoe, you know? It's there as like a weird shield. It's not there for comfort most of the time. I'm uncomfortable for you. Last time I talked about this, I reminded everybody that my dad is the quintessential, I've worn the same t-shirt for 40 years. I've worn the same pair of sweatpants for 40 years. When they discontinued my plaid work jackets, I was distraught because no one else is ever going to make them the same. Right? No diagnosis needed. So, you know, I grew up with that. It didn't take very long for me to realize I don't have those same hang-ups. I don't have those same, I can empathize with them and I understand them because I grew up with somebody who experiences that, but I do not have those same hang-ups at all. I can be deeply uncomfortable and then suddenly be fine with it. So does that not ruin the sock by stretching it? I could see a pitch for that with Clark's socks, that maybe because my feet are a little bit bigger than, I'll admit, only a little, because my feet are only a little bit bigger than hers, that I might be stretching her socks. But with Sam's, no. I'm unstretching them, if anything. Yeah. If I love a pair of shoes enough, this might be on the same tree, but if I love a pair of shoes enough, I will wait until the sole is literally completely detached from the shoe. Not my favorite shoes. These are my favorite shoes. The ones I'm wearing today. These, they've seen some shit. I wear them almost every day. But my black ones are much cheaper. I expected them to fall apart first, and they have. But it's gotten to the point now where if I wear them outside, my whole sock is wet by the time I get back inside. They do not protect from anything anymore. And I saw a video where somebody was basically caulking the sole of their shoe back on with like waterproof caulk, and I was like, should I do that? Yes, same. Noise for me is a huge problem. Noise sensory problems and I, we're like this, best friends. But clothing, fabrics, I'm fine with it. And meanwhile, I am, because history repeats, cutting all the tags out of my kids' clothes, much like my mom did for my dad for my whole childhood. Cutting all the tags out of Clark's clothes and going, God, I hope I remember whether or not this fits you. And us buying socks, and then when she puts the sock on, in that moment, her having to figure out like whether or not they're going to be too uncomfortable for her because she hates the seam line that's on top of your toes. If that's too harsh, she cannot proceed with the day wearing those socks. But the ones that put the seam on the ends of the toes are worse. So we've had to like find specific brands that aren't deeply uncomfortable because of the sock seam. Because like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for her. Yes, we've tried that. We've tried the inside out thing. I don't know why I read that as, are you, neurotypical? Oh my God. You know what? I'm a big fan of de-influencing, but I'm going to tell you about a thing that I got recently that is so good. If you are a barefoot hobbit gremlin and you like to be barefoot all the time, and then you're sitting minding your own business and you look at the bottom of your feet and you're like, how did that happen? I mopped my house. What happened? How do my feet look like this? Did you know that you can get silicone foot scrubbing mats for your bath and or shower? And they've got a little hangy hole so you can hang them up and let them drip dry after your shower. But they literally, you just slap them on the ground, put a little soap on them, and use your feet to just scrub around, foam them up. Oh my God. Life changer. I love this thing. I love this thing so much. And there's a certain amount of peace that comes over me, again, when I'm just trying to mind my own business and realize my feet are awful because I've been walking around barefoot for, the whole day, maybe even outside. And there's a calm presence in my mind that goes, but you can scrub the shit out of those feet in the shower, dude. And I always could, but it's just nicer now. Here, I'll find you a picture. I don't have an affiliate link, no. Again, I'm not benefiting from this. I'm just telling you, if you also live a hobbit life and your toesies are just out in the wind all the time. silicone foot scrubber mat. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, if you just look that up, it's basically this sort of a thing. Wait. Now be aware. This is one of those things where you find like 18 of them by different companies and they all look exactly the same. So so you know, there's that whole element. But this sort of shit, this isn't the one that we have, but this is the idea. And it's got little suction cups on the bottom, and it just suctions to the bottom of your shower. You step on it, you scrub, 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 scrub. And it feels great. So yeah, look up silicone foot scrubber shower. Maybe throw shower in there. That might help. I love that it turned from I don't know how my feet got this way to I might have been walking around outside in the dirt. When I was a kid, I used to get my dad would yell at me all the time because I don't know why. I would need to we had so we lived sort of like surrounded by a tree line. And most of our driveway, we had a really long driveway and most of it was gravel, right? So if my dad is like out in the field working on something and I need to go tell him something, my mom is like, hey, can you go tell your dad XYZ, right? Would I put on shoes? No. No. And every time I'd regret it. I'd get all the way out there. I'd get to where the gravel was and have to walk across the gravel and be stepping on the gravel and be like, well, you know what the problem was is my dad at one point made the mistake of saying, you know, back when I was a kid, my parents were born in the 40s. Back when I was a kid, all of us, you know, we were all hippies and shit. And we'd all just walk on the rocks. And eventually you get calluses big enough that your feet don't even care. So in my mind, I was like, if I just keep this up, if I just keep this up long enough, one day I'll step on these rocks and I won't even feel them, dude. It didn't happen. They continued to hurt. Spoiler. Did any of you guys see all of those videos that went viral with that couple that cut the soles off of all of their shoes? So that they could walk around barefoot all the time? Yeah, so many people were like, dude, the diseases these people are about to get. It was literally that, like, just showed video footage of them cutting the soles off of all of their shoes and then putting the shoes on so that they were barefoot, but then had like a like a weird shoe cozy over their foot. And then them just like walking around in the store, walking on the street, and everyone was like, don't do that. Don't do that. What are you? Don't do that. Oh my God. It was rage bait. I hope so. Would you do it? No. Have I walked around barefoot in a street in like a city before? Yeah, 100%. I was much younger, I will say. Young enough that I was in that mindset of like, I'm fine. I'm in heels and they hurt. I'm taking them off. I don't care. Would I do that now? Not unless I was in a lot of pain and needed my shoes off. I can't be harmed age. Yeah. What is that mug? This mug? I have such a fondness for this mug. It hasn't been in my life for very long, but I think I'll keep it forever. I'll tell this story really shortly because I've told it a couple times before, but basically we went to a convenience store that for some reason just had an entire wall of like old mugs that you could buy. And we on a lark were like, how about each of us picks one? So Sam picked one that had Vegeta on it. And when you put something hot inside, he powers up, right? And Clark picked a Mr. Men and Little Miss one that was Little Miss Princess. And I was looking all over and I was like, I don't know what to get. And Sam picked this one up and was like, this one has you vibes. It's like, this guy reminds me of you. And there was something very sweet about that. It made me laugh really hard and then I had to buy it. So it's Animal. It's Animal from the Muppets. He's a drummer. I know. It's impossible. It's impossible to pick a Moomin mug. There's so many. There's so many of them. And I can't even just be like, I'm just going to get a, you know, it's not like there's a Little My mug, right? There's so many. Yeah, an entire valley, if you will. Exactly. Which Muppet do you think you'd be? I don't know. I don't know the Muppets well enough, I don't think. When that whole like Gonzo, when that whole, oh, I shouldn't, well, Gonzo, immediately when you said Gonzo, I thought of Octo. Because Gonzo feels like he would be a memer. So I mean, this is basic, but I always vibed with Kermit. Kermit's good. Kermit's a good time. I don't know. Who are the Muppets? Does anybody else get the Muppets and Sesame Street mixed up? I have a hard time sometimes remembering like who's in which thing. The Muppets. Let's get a list, shall we? Give me a list of the Muppets. Characters. No, give me a list. Give me a list, dude. The Muppets characters. Here we go. Oh my God, there's so many. Okay. We've got Fozzie. Fozzie's good. Fozzie's very sensitive, but also a goofball. We've got Beaker, a anxious, very clever boy. Gonzo, a memer. Miss Piggy, doesn't need a description. Sweetums. I don't remember much about Sweetums except that he laughs. Does he laugh? I think he laugh. He's big and he laughs, right? Dr. Bunsen. Dr. Bunsen and Beaker. Besties, work partners, whatever. Kermit. Sam Eagle, very serious man. The Swedish Chef. Statler and Waldorf. Yes, good. New Zealand. Don't know. Scooter, I recognize you, but I don't know. So the rat. How is animal so far down on this list, dude? Crazy Harry, Dr. Julius Strange Pork, Pepe the King Prawn. I remember that guy. There's the dog, Ralph. Dude. Animal is kind of niche. God. Is he? Are there chunks of time where Animal has just not shown up? Because I feel like Animal was definitely around a lot when I was younger. And also, the new Muppet Babies, which there is a new Muppet Babies. Animal is one of the main characters in the new Muppet Babies. Animal is iconic, but isn't used that much. Damn. What's everyone's favorite Muppet movie? Why is it Muppet Treasure Island? Somebody said this forever ago, and I'll never get it out of my mind. They were like, I want so badly Muppet Pride and Prejudice, where the only human is Mr. Darcy, and he plays it like completely seriously. That would change my life. It would be so good. Yeah, I would watch a Muppet movie of most things. But Muppet Treasure Island is the one that I grew up with. I don't think I ever saw a Muppet Christmas Carol, which I hear is punishable by death. That movie's amazing. Muppet Treasure Island, though, I watched over and over and over again because I had the VHS of it. And so I was able to just rewatch it as much as I wanted. And that was my exclusive interaction with Tim Curry for a decent amount of my life. Until I accidentally watched the Clue movie when it was on TV. Yes. Someone said something once about the Muppet movies that either if you are playing a human, if you're just a human in a Muppet movie, you either need to act as though you're a Muppet, Tim Curry, or you need to be the opposite. Like, you are the human, right? You have to be completely serious, acting human, or you have to be a Muppet. Those are the only options. The difference between the two, Tim Curry acts like a fellow Muppet. Michael Caine treats them like they're fellow actors. Yes, it's exactly that. Muppet Macbeth would slap. Yes. Come on, guys. The Muppet franchise is not getting any younger, dude. When's the last time we had a Muppet movie? Get on it, dude. Actually, pretty recently, 2015. If it's 2015, that's not recently. It's 9 years ago. Gonzo with the wind. Yes. Good. We deserve a new one, is what I'm saying. And it should be Pride and Prejudice. Driving Miss Piggy. Hot Fozzie. What the hell? my goodness. We can't sanction a Discord watch party of things now. Because technically it's... There's legal problems with that. Goodness gracious. Kirk Thatcher a few years back elaborated that they didn't do more because of Hollywood basically saying only if we triple the budgets and take them off of Henson entirely aside from fabrication. Why? That's very silly. "12 Angry Muppets. One of them is animal." 100%. Yeah. No country for old Muppets. Oh, goodness. Henson kept trying to do weird, artsy, experimental stuff with the Muppets. Execs were worried about marketability, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, if I recall correctly, did not do well when they first came out. Everybody was like, this is super weird. They've become like cult classics and beloved over time, but I don't think they were extremely marketable when they came out. My husband started playing Banishers. I'm inwardly screaming. I'm so excited. I talked with Sam yesterday. I was like, honey, I need us to figure out a day when I can start playing Banishers, basically the second kiddo goes to school, and just play it all day and into the night, because it's going to take me forever to finish this game. And he was like, okay. Did you move again, or are you temporarily living somewhere else? I've lived here for about a year now, and we own this place. So, I don't know when the last time you watched was. I did move. I moved last year, though. I guess I keep forgetting that I kept working out of the other house for a while. Yeah, we bought the farm and started moving in last April, early April, I think, or end of March. And continued to work out of the other house for a few months. So I know that was confusing for some people. But yeah, we've technically lived here nearly a year. It looks like you're still moving in. Thank you. Yes, that's true. It does. Is it weird that I think of you as British, even though you still don't have an accent? A few people have said that to me, which I find very funny. There was an episode of Moomin Valley. We're just watching a lot of it right now, okay? We're nearly done with it, and then I'm going to have to be one of those, like, weirdos on Tumblr, like, when is season 3 happening? Anyways, there's an episode of Moomin Valley that was literally, like, there's a character named Mrs. Fillyonk who's in the game, who's in the Snufkin game, so I knew who she was ahead of time. She's basically, like, a really uptight, clean freak, very, like, you know, order in the home is order in the mind sort of a person. And in this episode, she comes to the Moomin's house and is like, what the fuck is this shit? She's like, this place is a nightmare. It's so messy. What is going on here? And then, like the uptight horror show she is, she's like, I'll be back in 3 days to inspect your house. And Moomin Mama gets so stressed out by this that she's like, we have to fix the house. And in trying to fix the house, stresses everybody else out so much that they all just move onto the front lawn. And Mrs. Fillyonk comes, looks at the house, and is like, it's beautiful. Good job, you know, sort of a thing. And Moomin Mama finally snaps and is like, maybe we were messy, but at least we were happy. You know, so much happened in 3 days. But I was like, yeah. I laughed and I was like, that's kind of like us. And Clark was like, yeah, we're messy, but we're happy. I was like, we are happy, huh? Poor Moomin Mama, for real. Moomin Mama puts up with so much shit, dude. This is the show Moomin Valley. For anybody who's missed it, I'm very Moomin pilled right now. I played all of Snufkin, and now I'm like, I need to know everything about Moomins. So, so I started watching Moomin Valley because that's very accessible to us. It's just on Sky Kids. There's 2 seasons of it. It's the CGI Moomin show that came out in 2019. That a lot of people were like, nope, not watching that, because a lot of people wanted another 2D show, which is fair. And the first couple of episodes are unhinged feeling. They really were trying to figure out, like, how do we establish this world? And I really don't think they needed to. I think they could have just dropped us in and been like, here's all the characters. They're a bunch of fucking weirdos. Enjoy, you know, but they didn't do that. They decided they needed to, like, introduce everybody, you know? So, yeah. So we've been watching Moomin Valley, and it's actually very cute, and I think it improves quite a bit over time. We're in season 2 now. Yeah. When I was originally talking about it, when we had only watched a couple of episodes, I was like, it's kind of like Sonic Boom. And for those of you who have watched Sonic Boom, the characters are hilarious. Love the way the characters are written, but the actual episodes make no goddamn sense, right? They always end in a way where you're like, that was abrupt, right? Like, they're just weird. They're just weirdly written episodes, but well-written characters. That's the way Moomin Valley feels at first. And then they start to, like, they get to the point where everything that happened in previous episodes is actually still applicable, and they still, like, nod toward things that happened like 4 episodes ago, or like something will get brought up again, or a character still carrying something around that they were carrying, you know, a few episodes ago. I love that sort of shit. So I was like, oh, that's so fun. I like that. And it's improved a lot. So I understand now why the people that stuck with it and watched it are like, I can't wait for season 3. But yeah, I've never watched the 90s Moomin show or the 60s one or any of that. So I didn't go into it with an expectation for what things should look like, really. And I think that helped a lot. It was pretty easy for me to accept, like, yep, that's what everybody looks and sounds like. Sure. You know? Oh, it's past 3. I gotta go. Thank you all so much for watching. We've got Sunforge tonight, again, for anybody who is interested in watching that. Tomorrow, Summer and I are going to be playing something. We're not totally sure what, but if you want to come hang out with Summer and I, that'll be happening tomorrow. Wednesday will, of course, be Banishers, and we'll set up a day to just, like, play a bunch of Banishers, because I think we need to do that. But in the meantime, let me read off our activity feed and then I'll get going. Unpausing raid leader. Okie dokie. Nemo, thank you for the 27 months. Graded Juice for the 16. Boxa for the 109. Ectrix for the 77. Tarantoga for the 6. Duanico for the 39. Led Dennis for the 19. Drum for the gifted sub. Thank you. Vigilumbra for the 34. Linny Dota for the 18. Slighted Gamer for the 41. Zingatorix, thank you again for all of those gifted subs. Lurker Jean for the 67. Twigbot for the 33. New Jericho, thank you again for those gifted subs as well. Arnar for the 99 months. I hope you're doing good. TFK, thank you for the gifted sub to Summer. Mr. Hearts, thank you for the 73. Lane Wakura for the 28. And Gynax for the 75. How do you read off the activity feed now? And it's just go fishing. Oh, I'm able to tell it what things to show me. I can literally just be there. You have tons of filters in there. So the only things that show up on my activity feed are new subs, gifted subs, and resubs. Just subscriptions. It's the only thing that I have show up on there because I can see the reward queue for like channel stuff in a separate part of the thing. So, whoa. You guys want to go hang out with Bango? Because I think Benji will be playing with the boys once they get started as well. So. Okie dokie. Go say hi. Spread love, spread joy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll hang out with Summer. Or I'll see you for Sunforged if that's something that you watch. But either way, take care of yourselves. Bye.